Hi guys, I'm AnimeMixer1, AM1 for short, and today we're talking about the winter season of anime 2019. More specifically about what I watched, because I haven't watched everything because I don't have time for that, but I can tell you what I have watched and what I think about what I watched. Now this is gonna be a short list because I didn't watch a lot of stuff this season. It seems like I won't have the time or the willpower to go through a lot of stuff in the coming seasons. Also, I tried to watch a lot of older anime that I still haven't watched that I really need to get around to. But for now, let's talk about the seasonal anime, and we'll start with the continuing series that ended this season. And let's get the big one out of the way first, Sword Art Online Alicization. Now the first half of this series actually had me quite optimistic. It seemed like it had a lot of focus not necessarily on Kirito but on those around him, which is good. The story was more dramatic and compelling, may I dare say, than it usually is in a Sword Art Online series. And the action scenes we got presented were well animated. And all in all, while it was probably never going to be an amazing show, I could see this being an entertaining, fairly decent show. And it was up until right about the end. Because towards the end, everything sort of just Deus Ex Machina itself every which way. And there are so many things that I just can't get to make sense in any way that I just sit and go, why about? So, also worth noting, this is not the end of Alicization. Oh no, this is apparently just a part 1 of the season. Because it had such a douchebag cliffhanger ending. There were several ways I saw that they could have just ended it on a cliffhanger, but not like a douchebag cliffhanger, but oh no, they went the full douchey way. In case you want to watch for yourself, then I haven't spoiled anything outright for you, but if you're the kind that likes to binge, then wait with binging Alicization until the next part comes around. And it will come around, because it's Sword Art Online, it makes money, it's gonna get a new season. But from one fantasy-oriented anime to another, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. This one did unfortunately have some of the same problems as Alicization. Now, while Slime was very entertaining, heartfelt, and just enjoyable for the first half, and a little bit through beyond the first half, eventually it starts to get kind of tired. It takes the easy route out of every conflict, and it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to encounter anything that's hugely difficult or requires difficult decisions to be made or anything. It's just kind of things happen and then they work out. That's how it goes. Make no mistake, it's an interesting show and with an interesting premise with good characters, but everything kind of gets stale with how easily everything is solved in the end. Even big issues. Everything just seems to turn out just fine for Rimuru. I would not be objecting to a season 2 of Slime, but I hope it kind of gets a little bit more entertaining and a little bit more interesting, because or else it's gonna do the Konosuba thing for me. Because Konosuba season 1, brilliant. Konosuba season 2, just more of the same. Now, what I'm about to say counts for basically any anime. You don't need to completely renew yourself with every season, but please, just please, do something new to keep us interested. And the final show on this list of continuing series that I watched and that completed this season is Hinomaru Sumo. And I may get some flack for this, but this is probably the one out of the 3 that I mentioned already that I probably enjoy the most. Yes, more than Sword Art Online to all you Sword Art Online fans. Yes, to all you Slime fans, I enjoyed it more than Slime. It's a sports anime about guys doing sumo, and it is genuinely just brilliant. Well, actually brilliant is probably a bit strong. But it's something I think a lot of us have enjoyed seeing in recent years. We see the old tropes, the old classics being taken apart and rebuilt and polished in ways that we can sit and we can recognize the format and we can recognize the story building, but we can also really enjoy the polish of it all, like how everything is just made perfectly. And that's a bit of how Hinomaru Sumo works. It does what it needs to do to get you hooked, to get you interested in the characters, and to make every single sumo bout just look spectacular. Also, for those of you who really don't like sports matches in sports anime that last for 4 episodes, 5 episodes and beyond, sumo is inherently a very short sport. Not in terms of the competitors, they need to be tall. That's actually the main character's problem. He's short, but the matches are short, so at worst, you have the big finals between the main character and whoever is his rival at the time lasting for maybe one episode. Usually they are half episode or less. So they fit like 2 or 3 sumo matches into each episode if they need to. Of course you have episodes that are more story building and character building and don't have like proper matches, but that's kind of beside the point because it can actually go through quite a lot when it wants to. So you can see a lot of characters doing matches and you don't get bored, because before you have any chance to get bored, the match is over, we're moving on to the next, and it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster once you get invested into characters. If you like sports anime, Hinomaru Sumo is for you. Now those 3 series all started in the fall of 2018 and ended in winter 2019, but I did watch 3 more shows this season that both started and ended in winter 2019. And I'll actually take them in reverse order from worst to best, which might trigger a few people, but you know, people gonna be people. Internet gotta internet. Of these 3, number 3, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. And actually, may I just say, I got a little bit upset at the title as I was watching the show. Because this is about the romantic mind battle between 2 people who are in love with each other but don't want to say it, so they want to make the other person say it first. And one of them is Kaguya, the female protagonist, but the male protagonist doesn't get as much love in the title. Marketing strategy maybe, I don't know, but as I watched the show, it became more and more clear to me that Kaguya was not necessarily the main focus, as one would expect from the title. The 2 characters, the male and female love interest, are equal in this battle. And so they should have gotten equal attention in the title as well, I feel, so it's kind of misleading, but eh. Also, I must say the following: I did not really find the show that funny and interesting. It was a bit funny and interesting up until episode 5, but before that, it wasn't that much. But from episode 5 on, we get introduced a 4th member of the student council, who are the characters that we are mainly focused on, and this 4th character makes all the difference for me. I just love that character and the dark humor he brought to it all. Also, is Chika best girl? I don't know. I think most people are pinning her for best girl because of that 3rd episode ending where she's dancing around and it all looks very pretty. But think about it, she's an airhead, she's selfish, she seems to have very little self-awareness, and she can be absolutely brutal. I would not pin her as a best girl kind of girl. Cute and definitely adds to the humor, but not best girl. Yes, boo me all you want, you may boo, you're welcome. Now onwards on this ascending list, and number 2, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. Wait, Mob Psycho Season 2 is number 1, how dare you, I hear you say, and by all means, feel however you want about this. This is how I do things. Now I've seen a lot of people online saying that with Mob Psycho Season 2 being as good as it was, this anime is now one of their top anime ever, if not their favorite anime of all time. And I'm sitting here going, it's good. It's definitely good. I could recommend this to a lot of people without any regrets. Call me a cynic, but I don't relate as much to that story as I think a lot of people will want me to. I definitely enjoyed seeing Regen's story though. He got some solid character development here, and that was actually quite enjoyable to see, like a little bit heartbreaking too, because he was so low down, but then he got back up and eventually Mob came back to him and all was good and well. That was a good little story arc. And I definitely enjoyed the entire series as a whole, and it did have good action and good character building overall, and we got to see Mob actually changing quite a bit as a character, which is good. Now let me just also say that I would feel perfectly happy leaving Mob Psycho 100 right here for now, because it's a good stopping point. I don't see how it would go any further unless it's gonna go like completely slice of life. Now that Mob has defeated someone who is apparently the most powerful Esper in the world or something, and you know, there won't be any more things to challenge him, so what's gonna happen now? So to me, it's like, this is a good stopping point. Season 2 could like cap off the whole show as far as I'm concerned, but I know it probably won't end like that. I'm sure the source material is way ahead. And make no mistake, I think it would be interesting to see how it would go further, but I just fear that it might end up going too far. But it was definitely a very enjoyable series to watch this season. And at number 1, finally, for these 3 seasonal anime that I watched, The Promised Neverland. It's at this point that some of you are going, okay, that I can excuse you not having Mob Psycho on number 1 spot if you haven't Promised Neverland on the number 1 spot. I forgive you. First of all, thank you. Second of all, you're also forgiven for assuming stuff. The Promised Neverland is an amazing thriller. While it does bring about some plot points and plot twists at the end that I don't really see the point of, except for like having a shock factor, as a whole, it had me on the edge of my seat for most of the episodes. And it's always the question of, okay, we found out this, now how do we do that? How do we progress further along? How is it possible to go further here? You need to pay close attention to the planning and the characters and try to understand what's gonna make all this work out. And to the show's credit, it manages to keep a lot of things hidden while not making it seem come out of nowhere when it's revealed. A lot of shows will just insert whatever they feel like fit into this sort of anime in order to make it, aha, we pulled a fast one over you, it was actually like this all along. But in Promised Neverland it actually makes sense whenever they do this. And I believe I read that Promised Neverland is confirmed to be getting a second season, which is good, because while it was a good stopping point, a good narrative stopping point for now, I definitely want to know what happens further on. I think it's gonna keep being a dramatic thriller anime, but I think it'll also go a little bit into the adventure spectrum now, because those kids from that anime are moving into the unknown. And I do like a good adventure, I do. And I really want to learn more about this world, because we don't know any more than the kids do, basically. And doing the whole you never know more than the main characters do at any point is just, it's a brilliant way of telling a story that is used commonly throughout a lot of media, but very rarely is it used this well. So I'm definitely looking forward to season 2 of that. And that wraps up what I watched this season. Like I said, short list, I'm not watching as much anime as I used to anymore, sadly enough. But I still enjoy anime a lot and try to keep up with at least the most important ones and those that I find personally interesting. There were 2 other anime that I was considering to watch, which is the Shield Hero Isekai, but I just kind of felt like, no, that's not necessary now, is it? I've watched enough isekais for now, and as far as I've heard, it's just kind of very generic isekai, where basically the biggest selling point is that the people who are brought into another world are just going, okay, we know how this works because isekai is so normal, or something like that. Like I said, I haven't seen it, these are all things that I have like been told and heard and watched. It doesn't sound overly interesting to me, so I'm just not watching it. I also considered starting to watch Dororo, which seems to be a remake of a classic anime, which I have no relation to whatsoever. And I do tend to like to watch the first original adaptations of something before watching the newer stuff, because I like watching what has improved and what has not improved and stuff. It's the reason why I watched Fullmetal Alchemist before I watched Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's the reason I was really happy I had watched the original Hunter x Hunter before the new Hunter x Hunter got around. It is also the reason why in the coming season I will not be watching the new Fruits Basket, because I haven't watched the original. But I want to watch the original because I have been recommended it for years and years and years, and I need to get around to watching it. But that's just how I like to do things. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to my opinion about these very few anime. If you have your own opinions or things you want to say to me, then by all means leave a comment and I'll probably reply to it and just chat and have a discussion. I like those. Also, for those of you who have stuck around and watched all this way through the video, I will reveal now that I do have an idea for a series for YouTube concerning anime, which I think could be interesting to do, and I haven't really seen anyone else do. I've tried searching around, didn't find it. I won't tell you what it is, but I will try to think more on it. It'll be a more scripted show. I'll need to be a lot more thorough in researching a lot of stuff, but I think it could be an interesting show. I'm kind of mentally working on that now more than anything, but hopefully I'll be able to get something down on paper and make a video or 2 or 3 on it, and yeah, see how that works out. For now though, you'll probably only get the occasional anime video from me because I am bad at putting out videos regularly. So probably these seasonal review thingies with 1 or 2 other anime oriented videos in between whenever I feel inspired. And I do hope to see you all in those later videos. But until then, remember, I have been Anime Mixer 1, and I approve of this video.